Good day, everyone. My name is Jo, and I am the Communications and Advocacy Lead for our operations in Sub-Saharan Africa. Welcome to our reflection on Easter. It is my task today to share a few thoughts on Holy Monday. When we think about Holy Monday and the events of that day, we have to remember that it follows directly after the triumphant entry into Jerusalem. And although the chronology of the events of that day is not 100% clear or agreed upon, what we do know is that Jesus, from then on, started to have increasing confrontation with the Pharisees of the time and with the religious leaders. And we know that it was increasingly volatile for him and for his disciples in those from that day onwards. What strikes me about these events is that Jesus was not deterred by any of this. He did not cower in the face of the dangers that were growing all around him. Jesus set his face towards Calvary, knowing that that is what was needed to redeem a people for himself, to make us part of his family, to redeem a people that is close to him. Looking at Jeremiah 29, we see a few I see a few similarities between the circumstances that Jesus faced just before the cross and the situation of the Israelites in that part of history. They were living as exiles in Babylon. They were devastated. They had suffered probably the destruction of property, of loved ones. Probably they might have struggled with a loss of identity even while they were living there. And Jesus has some hope to share with them. He says to them that he has a plan for their lives, that he has a plan for a future, to bless them, that it's a good plan that he has for them. In the midst of their suffering, he assures them that he had a plan that was at work, similar to the situation that Jesus faced while there was suffering, while there was trauma, while there was uncertainty, maybe for the people around Jesus at that time. He knew all the while that there was a plan, a perfect plan that God was working out in his life. And it is the same also for God's children in Jeremiah. God had a plan. He was working out his plan of salvation in their lives. And apart from the hope that we read in these scriptures, the Lord also has some advice for these believers. Not only hope, but also advice. He says, grow where you are planted, because I have a plan that's being worked out. Have children, seek the peace of the city that you are living amongst. And this is a word that I think can be of great encouragement also for our persecuted brothers and sisters, specifically those who are targeted by violence, who often find themselves in similar situations, being displaced, being robbed of their very identity even. The word for them is to grow where they are planted and to live out the gospel even in this situation that they are facing, to be a blessing to the people around them, to seek the peace of the place where they find themselves. And we can really help them in this process. As believers, we can stand next to them in their suffering and equip them and provide to them the things that they need the most in those situations, whether it be practical help, whether it be spiritual help, help to come to terms with the trauma that they have suffered, just encouraging them, walking next to them, to help them to be like the Israelites that were carried away into Babylon, so that they could bring hope of the gospel to the people around them. And the way that they do it is by living out the gospel truths to the people around them. And you and I can really partner with them in this by supporting them through prayer and practical help, also just being present with them, maybe sending them a word of encouragement at the right time. So I hope as we enter into this time of Easter and we think about the price that many of our brothers and sisters are paying even during this festive time for us, that we will remember that we have the privilege of taking part in strengthening them and helping them to live out the gospel truth and the gospel values in the situation that they find themselves. God bless you for joining us on this journey and for reflecting with us on what all of these things mean for our persecuted brothers and sisters.
My hope is built on Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest friend.